It was a great month for mobsters. I'm certain it was, for many of them, just not for all of them. It wasn't for these three, at least. A trio of mafia fugitives from Italy whose life on the run and in the sun was just cut short. One was caught in a hospital in Portugal after catching COVID. Another was collared while shopping at a market in Spain. The other? He was pinched on a Caribbean island after eagle-eyed cops recognized the tattoos on his arms in his wife's YouTube cooking videos. The Mob reporter here with news of why a dozen mafia fugitives from the Nghangheta, one of the world's most successful criminal networks, who were on the run from Italian justice, have been bagged abroad in the last 10 months. Let me tell you about it. I'll start with Marc Feren Claude Biart. Biart, 53 years old, has been on the run for 7 years, steering clear of Italy since 2014 when police launched Operation Mauser. It was a sweep targeting the Cacciola clan of Rosarno, a town long plagued by the mob. In 2008, for instance, the entire town council was dissolved by the government because of mafia infiltration. Biart is accused of moving coke into Europe through the Netherlands. The Cacciola clan was done in by a very well-placed and entirely avoidable informant. When one of the Cacciola men killed himself, his family treated his widow like a slave, blaming her for his suicide, which remains a deep taboo among old-school Catholics. In her despair and isolation, she got revenge by mapping out to investigators the clan's trafficking routes through Holland and Germany using false bottoms in rented cars. For many fugitive Nghangheta members, life on the run is an isolating and hard affair, sometimes hiding in remote rugged cabins with periods in bunkers or tunnels with an air pump and bottled water. Biart had other ideas. He was hiding in plain sight on a Caribbean island, living the sweet life of an expat in a beach town outside of Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic. 5 years ago he settled in Boca Chica. Police said he was reserved but friendly there, introducing himself simply as Marc. Biart loves to eat and likes to cook. His wife, police say, started a YouTube channel specializing in Italian cuisine. Biart would appear in them, but trying to be coy and careful, made sure never to show his face. Just his hands and arms were seen, reaching for ingredients, stirring sauces, and flipping meat. There was enough of his bare arms shown, however, for observant officers to trace his tattoos and match them to Biart. His love for Italian food and careless social media revealed the identity of the fugitive chef. He was arrested March 24, 2021. Agents with Interpol escorted him back to Italy. He arrived at the airport in Milan on March 29th, where he was greeted by Italian police. That same day, a far more important mobster was also caught, this one in Portugal. He was flushed out not by his hobby, but by the pandemic. He caught COVID, you see, and went to a clinic for medical treatment. Francesco Pele, 43, is known by the nickname Chicho Pakistan. He is a member of the Pele and Nghangheta clan from San Luca, and an important player in a notorious family feud that rocked the underworld. For most people outside of Italy, if they have heard of the Nghangheta, it's because of the Pele clan. The Nghangheta hit the headlines around the world in a major way in 2007. It was from an incident called the Duisburg Massacre, a deadly gangland attack in Germany, which was part of a long vendetta raging between rival Nghangheta clans from St. Luca. One of those clans was the Pele clan, and Francesco Pele was a protagonist in this perplexing affair, both as a victim and attacker. San Luca is a small place in Calabria, but carries immense status within the Nghangheta. It's often called the cradle of the Calabrian Mafia. With so many Nghangheta clans bumping into each other in such a small space, sometimes things get tense. Two alliances of clans particularly were rubbing each other the wrong way. On one side was the Strangio family, and on the other was Pele's family, allied with the Voltari family. One unfortunate day in 1991, Some young guys from the Nerta Strangio families were throwing eggs during a town carnival. Some of the eggs hit a social center and others a car. The social center was run by members of the Pele clan, and one of the cars was owned by a member of the Vatari family. Angry over the sign of disrespect, the Vatari men went and shot at the kids, killing 2 of them. The war was on. There was a series of revenge attacks, a tit-for-tat, with each hit keeping the feud alive. 2 years later it was getting out of hand, and a truce was finally called. That peace lasted until 2005, when an intemperate threat turned into a killing and then to another retaliation. In the revenge that followed, Francesco Pele, our friend Chicho Pakistan, the fugitive who was just caught, was shot on his balcony as he stood holding his newborn son. Francesco Pele was paralyzed from the waist down in the botched hit. Outraged, he demanded a massive response. That came on Christmas Day, 2006, when the home of their rivals was attacked. In the midst of the gunfight, it wasn't the boss that fell, it was the boss's wife. And a spectacular act of vengeance was expected. It came less than a year later, and 1,300 miles away, in Duisburg, Germany. 6 men were shot and killed outside a pizzeria where they had gathered to celebrate a birthday. 2 of them suspected of being directly involved in the Christmas Day shooting. The shock and the brazenness of this deadly attack, highlighting the harsh outlaw culture of the Nghangheta, pushed the secretive organization into mainstream news around the world. Francesco Pele was later found guilty for his role in the Christmas Day attack, and has been on the run and on the list of Italy's most dangerous fugitives. Although it seems cruel to call it a life on the run, as he was stuck in a wheelchair from the botched hit on the balcony. After he was found in Portugal, he remains under guard in the hospital's COVID clinic in Lisbon. How would you like to pull that guard duty? And finally we go to Barcelona, Spain. Here is where Giuseppe Romeo, 34, was found. His capture was the first that started this cascade, after Spanish police caught him on March 12, 2021. Romeo escaped arrest in 2018 when police in Italy, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg launched simultaneous raids. At the time, it was called the largest coordinated joint action operation against an organized criminal group in Europe. It targeted an alliance of Nghangheta clans trafficking cocaine throughout Europe, and Giuseppe Romeo, police allege, was in the thick of it, acting as promoter, organizer, and financier, although he wasn't found when they went to arrest him. Romeo shuttled around between his home base in Calabria to Lombardy in northern Italy, which borders Switzerland, and in northern Europe, mainly Germany and Holland. Authorities traced almost 4,000 kilos of coke and hundreds of kilos of various other commodities during the course of the investigation. Police found Italian restaurants were being used as cover for their activities abroad and for laundering their proceeds. Romeo was facing 20 years in prison, so he steered clear of coming home. Romeo was caught going to a large food market in Barcelona. Investigators first found a close family member living in the area and set up discreet surveillance, leading to an address. Police watched as Romeo left home with what police described as a sentimental partner. They were tailed to Sancervesi Market, where he was positively identified as Giuseppe Romeo. He was also on the list of top 100 most dangerous fugitives. It's a list that is constantly being topped back up after each arrest. These guys are just 3 of an even dozen of Nghangheta fugitives who fled Italy and have been caught in other countries in the last 10 months. Police told me there had been 3 found in Argentina, 2 in Albania, 2 in Spain, and 1 each in Canada, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, and Portugal. This is not a coincidence. Interpol, the International Criminal Police Organization, calls the Nghangheta the most powerful criminal organization in the world. Italian police even compare it to the pandemic itself. It started small in Calabrian towns and spread around the world like a virus. The 'Ndrangheta's roots are in the Italian region of Calabria. That's the toe of the boot-shaped map of Italy. There are 'Ndrangheta clans present in 32 different countries, but police complain that despite their international presence, financial success, criminal involvement at highest levels, and the occasional splash of violence, few outside of Italy really understand its danger. Police are trying to change that. Interpol is coordinating an international effort called the ICANN Project, short for Interpol Cooperation Against 'Ndrangheta. The project includes 11 countries, including those where there is a significant 'Ndrangheta presence. Italy is joined by the United States, Canada, Germany, Australia, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, France, Switzerland, and Uruguay. And tracking down mafia fugitives around the world is a key part of the project's objectives. Recent results suggest it's working. Thanks for watching.